Okay.
All right. Everyone, welcome. I want to introduce you to my dear friend, Staci Child, who is a fabulous hairdresser. There she is right there. She's wonderful, super talented, does gorgeous work, and is just all around a very, very cool person that I've known for a long time. Staci, thank you for coming today.
Thanks for having me. Hi.
Good to do this. So for those who don't know you, why don't you introduce yourself to our viewers?
What?
The three people who don't know you.
Three. Okay. Hi, Staci. I do hair and makeup, I guess these days, both.
True, both now, right? So where are you from and how did you get into the industry?
I'm from Australia. My dad's a hairdresser. My auntie was a hairdresser. My grandmother cut hair. It's sort of like been in my family forever. My great grandfather had a little barber shop. I guess I had, when I was in first grade, so this little girl taught me how to braid. And I've sort of not stopped.
I love that. That's so cute. That's
yeah. And I became a hairdresser in Melbourne. And then I guess I moved here almost 20 years ago and started working at Cutler with Rodney.
Love him. He's a good guy.
Yeah. And then we started doing some shows when I first met Mr. David Cruz.
That's right.
One of my first shows. And also I still use that technique that you did on that show. I stole it.
Really?
Yeah, I love it. Still.
That's right. We did meet backstage like 19 years ago or something.
We did those really tight curls, remember? And you and I were sweating. Because it was like a tiny little space and it was like curl. And it was like, I think we didn't even have enough assistants.
Yeah, I think I was short.
Yeah.
So funny. And you realize how much heat those irons generate, like it's in your face.
Yeah. And you burn yourself constantly too. Blow drying. Oh yeah. Oh, I don't really miss Fashion Week that much.
Honestly, no. But it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, every once in a while, I'll see something where I go, oh my God, that looks fun. I wish I did that. But,
me too.
You know, like that's just inspiring artistically, but I rarely, like the day to day, I got tired of dragging myself around all over town, just ponytails all the time.
No money. Yeah, making no money and getting smacked in the back of my head by cameras and getting pushed out of the way and getting yelled at all the time.
Yeah.
But I would also walk away from it and be really inspired and then do some great editorials and like some cool stuff that we saw. But back when editorials were a thing and magazines were a thing, I miss them. I found all my old tears. I guess my agency sent them back to me, and I got my books back, which I hadn't even seen for probably 10 or more years.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. When we actually had a book to present our work in, and see it in a magazine, like that feeling when you like open a magazine, you see your name.
I love that. And when it wasn't on a screen that's this big.
Yeah. 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 And then, oh my God, that model didn't tag me.
Totally. We're like, come on, you got 1 million followers. Will it kill you?
Exactly. I might get 3 followers from you. Come on.
Yeah, totally. But it is true. There was something quite magical about sending books out and looking at them, like I used to love to go into the agency to redo my book every few months.
Totally. And spend hours doing it. And then you'd have someone else in the industry take a look and get their opinion. And then, a photographer would be like, oh, I think that should go closer to the front, or, or maybe you should take that out, or all that.
It was really I forget about that, but it was an elaborate process and something that you needed to do regularly because they were sending that physical book to all these clients.
Also an expensive little thing too. Those leather-bound books and the cases. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then the monthly fees.
And the plastic things, containers, whatever. They were so expensive. You had to get new ones all the time because as soon as they got scratched, it would make the image look bad.
That's true. Oh my goodness, I forgot about all that. I mean, that was a hassle, but there was something magical about it. And I loved seeing my work, and I know you have this too, where we've discussed this before, seeing your work in a physical magazine like a good one, especially one that had like really nice quality paper, and it was
And,
awesome.
but also getting that first hold for a magazine that you've always wanted to work for. You know, I was like, I went through so many years being like, the only magazine. I'd even worked for it, like Vogue. I'm like, is Elle magazine. You know, for years I was like, why won't they book me? Why won't they book me? Finally, I got into Elle magazine. I'm like, kind of, that's cool. You know?
It's so true. Like those personal milestones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. You know what's really funny is I remember every big milestone I had, it was only not impressive, but only people who were at the same level, like you and I. Like if I told you, it would be impressive, or if you told me, I'd be like, oh, that's cool that she's doing that. But if I told my family, they did not understand it.
Yeah. But it's always nice to have people, like we've always been, you know, sort of going on the same track, but being able to communicate about it with each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes bitch about it, sometimes applaud each other. You know, it's nice to have that.
It is nice to have that because you'd be so excited and you just want somebody to realize that it was a big deal. You know?
Yeah, or you get it from someone else in the industry being like, dude, I saw your shooting, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, cool.
You're like, did you? I know.
Did you?
That is so hysterical. Oh my goodness. What are you doing now? Because this has been such a weird, it's been such a weird year. I mean, the business was already changing so drastically, and I feel like this virus has somehow accelerated some of the things that were already going to happen, like, you know, some businesses shrinking up but what are you doing? What have you been doing these last few months to stay inspired as an artist, since we haven't really been able to go into studio to shoot for months?
For months. No, I started taking photos in my neighborhood. I got a camera a few years ago just to sort of take photos of my crazy weirdo friends. And then I sort of picked the camera up because I was getting, you know, starting to get not depressed, but, you know, quarantine was really difficult for everybody and uninspiring. And so then I started taking photos of everyone in the neighborhood and dogs.
That's so cool.
And it's actually been amazing because I live in Bushwick and the neighborhood's very strong, very tight. And I've got to know so many new people through all this. So the family network is really sweet. That's awesome. And so I started this Instagram with just like people that I didn't know, someone new, some were like when the restaurants and bars started opening, you know, people just starting to, you know, get the happiness back, that they were like back out in public. And it's actually was really inspiring and really beautiful to see.
That is awesome. I have to say, they're really beautiful though, by the way. You have a really, really good eye. But I do think that there's something to that. I've talked about that with other artists during this time. And I feel like if you are a true creative, like you are, that the medium almost doesn't matter. Some are more joyful than others. Like I know, I've seen you doing hair, so I know how much you love doing hair. Yeah. But I think when you're creative, you can slip into another, play music, take pictures. Like I think you're scratching the same itch, just with different things, like trying different things.
Oh yeah, I started cooking all the time, and also talking to a lot of people about cooking and trying new recipes, because you know you kind of, where by the time we work every day, you know, we get tired, so you don't really. Now I've had time to, you know, redo, like paint my walls, or you know, become a better chef. I started pickling the other day. Like I feel like my mum.
Wow.
Like, this is so much fun. I'm like, and I talk to everybody about it. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, pickling. They're like, okay. I'm like, have you ever pickled? Tell me how you pickle. What do you pickle?
That's hysterical, but I love that. But it's true. All of that stuff can be really, you realize that there is an art to all, even those little things, you know, and that's really too, you know, the cooking is a big thing.
Well, we have a little more time on our hands and, you know, little things like that. So it's nice. You know,
because even now work is still hit or miss. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah. I saw you as you were doing on Instagram, as you were progressively doing things around the apartment, posting little things.
Well, it's mainly all of my friends, a lot of my local friends, you know, who have like donated to the wall, or, you know, have given me really nice presents or whatever. But yeah, it's nice to be able to watch and look at everybody else's creativity too.
Yeah, it has been really fun. I have to say, I do enjoy that bit. Wow, that's cool. I'm glad that have stayed busy, and I know that work is starting to pick back up for you, like it is for all of us. It's a bit bumpy, but it's starting to like roll back around. But what do you see happening as far as the business goes? Like, what do you imagine the future is going to look like for it?
I honestly, it's so hard to say. I mean, I feel like the art of haircutting is sort of coming back, especially because, I mean, you and I originally were hairdressers, salon hairdressers.
Yeah.
And I feel like everyone sort of gave themselves freaky haircuts, lots of mullets and mohawks and things. So I feel like the creativity coming back to actually cutting hair again has been really nice.
Yeah.
But fashion, I mean, I've done a few shoots and everyone's been very positive, which is nice. I've heard of some really horrible stories about people not being positive on set, which is so upsetting, like photographers yelling at people and things like that, which I'm like, aren't we just all glad to work? We've always been grateful to work, especially freelancers. I mean, I know you have. If we're having a slow time, you start thinking about your own career and who, like, does no one like me? You start to be like, go internal about it. But yeah, I feel like it's just nice to be around positive people, and they'll stay in the industry.
I agree. And I feel like I never understood that mentality of yelling at assistants or being that person, even when things were going great. You know what I mean? Anytime you see it, you're like, this is so uncomfortable. Why would you do that? Why would you talk to another human being that way?
Right.
I never got.
I mean, I do miss the fact that I can't have an assistant because now I have to unpack my own bag.
I always felt bad for my assistants because packing my bag was like putting a puzzle together. Like they were like, I don't know how these bags go.
I mean, it gets to the point where I would literally be like, have to call my assistant and be like, yo, where is that comb?
Totally.
Because I would not know where anything was at all. Totally. But they had a sister. It's good.
If things aren't in the right pocket, you're like losing them,
Yeah.
Oh my God. So
like, did you lose that brush? Oh my God, that's a Mason Pearson. That cost me $200.
Or that one teasing brush that you got in Paris and you can't get anywhere else.
Can't get anywhere. Yeah, I know. I'm like, did you use those bobby pins? Because I had to get them in like Italy.
That's exactly it. It kind of used to be that way. I wonder if it's still, honestly, and this, I don't know how this is going to sound, but some of my brushes I've had for years. Like if I had to replace them, I don't know what I would do. You know what I mean? Like, where would I order them from? I can't go. I'm not going to Paris anymore, so I don't know. Not at least until this opens up.
Oh yeah, no. Well, yeah, we can't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's a little bit scary, actually. I'm going to be guarding my things with my life on sets. Man, that's good. I'm so glad that you had that positive spin and that you've had this really good time where you've maintained that level of creativity throughout. I feel like that's important, not just to keep your creative juices flowing, but also it's honestly just really good for your mental and emotional health. I feel like, you know what I mean? Not becoming too despondent because things aren't what they feel like they should be. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like also not having a regular income has kind of proven how much we don't really need, like to be spending money on certain things. And, like I don't need to be getting cars everywhere. Maybe I just don't go there this time for that $30 car ride. It's just sort of kind of a little more frivolous with your money, and which is nice.
Yeah, being smarter. It's true. When I did my taxes last year and my accountant looked at my Uber to be like, what in the world? You could have bought a couple of cars. It was crazy.
Yeah, well, when we first went into quarantine, I quarantined with some roommates, and I literally made it a thing where I was like, okay, I'm going to cook for 4 people for under $20. And that was like the everyday thing. And it's actually like, definitely gave me something to think about and something to do, but it's actually not that difficult.
And it's kind of a fun challenge.
It is a fun challenge. Yeah. And that's what I'd be like, kind of like pat on the back.
It's so good. I do think there's something clever about trying not to go baller status all the time, be smart about your money. I have an old roommate years ago who was a sommelier, and he worked at fancy restaurants and at Carbone and stuff in the city. And he always said he loved it when he would see people on a date and they didn't try and be baller status, just go, look, we want something great for the food that we ordered, but is there anything under $100? And he was like, once they gave him that cap, it was so much easier because then he goes, you're giving me something to work with.
Yeah. And they're not wasting food either.
And it's not wasteful. You know what I mean? Because
all these things and not eating them. And yeah.
Yeah, how smart. I love that. That's so clever. That's awesome. So I am really looking forward to seeing what you do next with yourself. And I really hope that you're going to maintain, like you're going to keep shooting, because for those who are watching now, check out her photographs because they really are beautiful. You really have a fantastic eye.
Thank you. Well, that's called Bushwick by Staci. The ones of all the locals. I sort of stopped for a minute because, you know, when everything sort of started to get somewhat back to normal,
Sure.
but I put it out there and everyone was like, please keep taking them. Please keep taking them. Like they make me smile every time I see them. And so nice. I was like, well, the 120 followers I have, really appreciate it.
Let's see if we can get those up. Let's get those up. I'm going to put that. That's going to be below when I put it on my Instagram, your regular work Instagram, but also the photograph one as well. But I just am so happy that you did this for me. Thanks for chatting in, because I feel like someone as talented as you are, as an accomplished hairdresser as you are, and to still have that great mental attitude is very encouraging for a lot of people that are out there. One last question, and then I'll let you go. What advice would you give to young up and coming artists who want to do the kinds of things that we work on, who have that drive and just want to make it happen? What counsel would you give them?
I would, if you want to be a hairdresser or do hair, I would definitely say get your skill level, learn how to cut hair, learn all about hair, and you have to really love doing hair because it's difficult and it's a good taste level. Assist people, be available, and watch. Like, don't be that assistant that's like staring at their phone or staring out the window. Like, watch the people who have already done it, who already made their success somewhat, or, you know, the biggest hairstylist in the world. But, you know, go to a salon. Don't just go to a school for 6 months.
Yeah, you're right.
Put your time in because it's worth it. Mm-hmm. And you'll be so much more confident and successful. So I've seen many people that can't even cut hair. I'm like, why? How are you in this industry?
That's incredible, isn't it? It's wild, the people that slip through it. You're like, your skill level is crazy. Yeah, that is true. I have seen that. I will say I find that they do run into walls sometimes, you know what I mean? Like if they can't do anything, because
I mean, we've definitely all been there. I've been in over my head before, and you know, you kind of have to like step back and freak out a little bit. Yeah. I definitely have cried in the bathroom at Milk a couple of times. I don't know why. Milk, always the bathrooms at Milk.
The bathroom at Milk has seen a lot of tears.
I'm fine.
Totally. People walk in the hallway and are like, oh, somebody's really having a time in there. That's very funny. I love that.
Yeah.
I will say YouTube is incredible for that. If there's anything that you don't know how to do, I have found videos on YouTube. Like there have been times, I remember I was doing this one show a few years ago, and in the Uber on the way to the show, the designer called me and decided that she changed her mind about the look and wanted everyone to have finger waves.
I've never heard of that before.
And I'm having a mild heart attack in the back of this cab, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? But I found a pretty good video on YouTube and sent it to my assistants and said, just watch this, just refresh your beauty school finger wave vibes. I ended up redoing pretty much all of them, but but it worked out okay. But I was like, oh, it was so frustrating. So yeah, but
I mean, definitely. But that's what happens when you're the lead anyway. You end up having to basically redo it.
You got to touch everybody. You have to. You have to like, make adjustments. Yeah, that is it.
I'm grateful to have people to help no matter, but yeah,
true.
You know, it's
true.
always
and at the end of the day, you're right. And it also makes for a hilarious story.
I mean, you have the same kind of perfectionist touch that I have. I mean, I've definitely worked in shows with you a lot. So
no, we have worked a lot together over the years, and it is like, but I do think that's how come people like yourself and like me and like other artists that we've known for as long as we have, I think that's why we last. I think because we have this almost, I don't know if saying it's OCD is the right thing, but almost this like obsessive, like in the details. You know what I mean? It's the details that matter, that make the difference. That's the thing that takes a look from being pretty to being amazing. you know?
Oh, a ponytail can be 1 centimeter off and it's completely different ponytail.
Yeah, and it feels different. You're just like, I don't know how that looks.
I had a one that I worked with. I did her shows for years, and she used to be an architect before she became a fashion designer. Wow. And she kept booking me. Every season was a ponytail, but we would move it every year, like slightly. And wow. She was like, the only reason, well, not the only reason she books me, but she's like, I love that you love a good ponytail as much as I do, and you're so particular about it. Like I'd have like 6 models, but I'd make my assistants take it out like 5 times. No, right. Not right. And they'd be like, I'm like, just look at where you're tying the hair tie. Look at the way the ponytails sit. Little things like that. It's like, it makes, yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, a good ponytail is really hard to do.
Oh, and not have all the little bumps and yeah, it's all about the prep too. A good ponytail can take 20 minutes.
Yeah. It's so true. And honestly, it's a good test to see where your assistants are at skill level. If you tell them to do this look, watching them work on it will tell you where they are and where you need to like fill in. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
You go hold pins and you keep doing ponytails.
Totally. Exactly. You keep working and you get me coffee.
Okay. You're over there. Yeah.
I love it. That is amazing. Oh my God, Staci, thank you so much for doing this for me. I so appreciate it.
Oh my God, I love you and I miss you so much.
I love you too. You are the best. And again, everyone follow Staci. Check out her photographs as well. And thanks again, doll. You're the best. Mwah.
Bye.
Get it. Bye.